Welcome! I'm Leah, and this is Psycho-Scientist Saturdays. I'm going to be doing a craft, making a spring outfit for my cat Blackberry, and telling you about Antoine Lavoisier, the founder of modern chemistry, who got beheaded during the French Revolution. This is my first video, so please forgive everything about it. I hope you enjoy it. I want to put out a quick disclaimer too about the name of my channel. I know that calling people psychos is not cool. I mean it in a satirical way, and maybe also try to think about the people that we put in history books. Maybe they're not as perfect as we make them out to be, and maybe the people we call psychos are more valuable to society than we gave them credit for. Something to think about.
Okay, here are quick facts. He was born in 1743 to a very wealthy family. His father and grandfather were the kinds of lawyers who presented cases to Parliament, so they were basically the ruling class. He became a lawyer for Parliament, but discovered a love for natural philosophy, or when science was a baby. He was guillotined, though, during the French Revolution because of other rich people stuff he was doing. We'll talk about it in a bit, but first, his wife was actually super helpful in his research and experiments. She was bilingual and would translate papers for him from English, but she also did a bunch of sketches for his lab and for his experiments. Her name was Marie Anne Lavoisier. She was 14 years old at the time that they got married, and he looks about as grateful as any pedophile would be. How long was he sitting for this portrait just dealing with her? Alright, let's just kind of jump right in here. So Lavoisier really distinguished himself by being as precise as possible with his measurements, unlike what you will see me do in this video. So he was super concerned with quantifying everything and making sure that he was careful, which was very unique at the time. And this is not to say that other people were not trying very hard, but it is to say that he was one of the founders of science as a methodical approach of evidence-based learning.
Okay. Oh no. Alright, we got this. We're back at it again. Okay, general science history check-in. When Antoine was alive, people still thought that matter was made up of fire, earth, air, water, like Avatar the Last Airbender, and they thought that body heat was made up of this substance called phlogiston, like a fiery fluid substance. And Antoine was concerned with whether or not this is true. He was 9 years old when Benjamin Franklin was doing his famous kite experiment, and it was 83 years until there was a reliable light bulb, and 44 years after that reliable light bulb until Thomas Edison had a patent on a light bulb. So we're in the scientific past here.
Okay, so knowing all this, Lavoisier was focused on mixed, which were later called compounds, which my light died, things that are made of different kinds of atoms, and he focused really hard on his measurements. He also created the oxygen theory of combustion, which was sadly kind of like the whole phlogiston thing, but it is where the word oxygen came from. He basically stole his friend Joseph Priestley's experiment, which isolated oxygen, and that was one of the main sources of his success. They were both focused on proving the conservation of mass based on these experiments for or against phlogiston, but it really produced a whole bunch of information. French students still learn the conservation of mass as Lavoisier's law, and eventually he and 3 other rich guys put out a whole naming convention for chemistry, which took hold extremely well, until, Okay, so the reason he got killed was not because of his pre-chemistry chemistry. He also did a lot of different jobs like tax collecting and was a prominent financier, which basically means that you deal with a lot of the government's money. He was also in the tobacco business, and they had this whole thing about putting ash and water into tobacco, which people thought was a scam. They were like cutting the tobacco or something. I couldn't figure out if it was really a scam or not. It sounds like a scam. Anyways, he was taking money from poor people, turning around and spending it however he wanted. And you can see how this sets him up for the full French Revolution experience. So he basically, was charged with fraud and thrown in prison along with 26 other people and his stepfather, who were all guillotined on the same day together. Basically, this guy who hates his wife he pedophiled was a massive part of the chemical revolution and our cultural transition from magic and phlogiston to atoms and the periodic table. Do you think he would hate my video as much as he hates his super smart and helpful wife? He seems like that kind of person. Look how cute he is. Alright, here it is. I made this from a shirt that I used to wear and some Velcro and hot glue, and that's it.
Look how shiny he is.